Hello. Hello. This is Sabrina Amina, and this is the Feelings Pod. I'm your host. I'm a holistic health coach. I'm an educator. I'm a healer and a deep feeler. And on every episode, I share the thoughts about emotions that are present for me, and I talk a bit about how we can navigate those emotions with presence and mindfulness as best as we can. Today's episode is on grief, and I've spoken about grief before. If you're curious to check out that episode, feel free to do so. Today's episode will look a little bit different because it's a new moment in time, and we are these magical, ever-evolving creatures, and there's never a moment where you're exactly the same as you were before. Our amazing bodies are constantly regenerating and healing themselves, and I've heard every 7 years you're an entirely new person, an entirely new being with just new cells that have regenerated. I mean, I don't know how true all that is, but it feels resonant to me. And grieving is so many things, but I think it's partially coming to terms with who we once were and how we got here. And honoring those past versions of ourselves. I'm attending a event today. It's part of Grief School, and it's run by some lovely teachers. And I invited a friend to come with me, and she said to me, "Oh, I didn't know you were grieving. I'm so sorry." And I thought that was a funny comment because aren't we all grieving all the time? Something or someone? I'd say we are, but maybe not necessarily so consciously. I don't think we live in a very grief-friendly society. It's a society that's pretty I don't know. It seems like death and grieving and the end of life, the end of time are maybe topics that are too big and too scary to talk about in normal everyday dinner time conversation. But I don't know about you, but those are the kind of conversations I like to have. I was reflecting in my morning pages today and asking myself, well, what am I grieving? And perhaps we tend to think of grieving as like the thing that we do, or the thing that we should do, or the thing that comes up when someone dies, or when there's a loss of a relationship. But really, grieving is the process of acknowledging any kind of loss, really. It's so important to grieve. And grief doesn't have a timeline. Something that surprises me, well, I'm not sure that it surprises me, but yeah, we'll go with that. Let's say it surprises me, is how grief sneaks up on me on topics that I thought I was okay about, you know? And things I thought I'd moved on from. Most recently, I've been navigating like the loss of my grandmother, and she died on May 21st, Allah yarhamha. And I don't really think I've talked about it a lot in too much depth, because I had an interesting relationship with my grandmother. You know, she was largely absent from my life because she lived in Algeria and I live here in the United States. So I feel like I'm constantly living in this space of missing loved ones, because I don't live on my ancestral homeland, and New Jersey has always felt strange and foreign to me. It's like, what am I doing here and how did I get here? So I, especially as my grandmother got older, like she wasn't very accessible even by phone, and so she was someone very much that I loved from a distance. And it's so strange now that she's not here anymore, because my experience of her is largely the same. It's unchanged. I think of her in a loving way. I know she's at a distance, and it's almost as if my love for her and connection with her has deepened and feels a bit lighter, because I think she carried a lot of grief. I think she carried a lot of heaviness and pain. And so I'm relieved for her. So I send her prayers and I remember her fondly. But I've done that. I've always done that. The last time I saw her, I pretty much knew I wouldn't see her again. I felt like I had closure because I had this anxiety. I went to visit her over the summer, last summer, And before I went, I hadn't seen her in several years, and I was like, I have to see her. I have to see her. I know she's going to leave this earth. She's getting older. Her health is not the best. And my cousin got married last summer, and it was just like the thing that prompted me to go. And I'm so grateful to my cousin for getting married, because it gave me that opportunity to see my grandmother one last time, to have that sense of closure, that I could, give her one more hug and be soft and tender with her. Wow. I think I'm going to talk about grief in a couple of parts, because I've had enough for today. So let's I just want to leave you with this invitation before we get into our practice for the day, and just say that if there's space to, if you can make space to grieve a loss, any kind of loss, I invite you to create some kind of ritual, or even just space for a conversation. For me, there's something healing about saying things aloud that we carry in our hearts and minds. Even if it's just recording So thank you for hearing me today. I invite you to find a comfortable seat. And as always, you can pause the recording if you're not able to practice in this moment, and come back to it at another time. Go ahead and close your eyes. Find an upright position, or you can lie down if that feels more comfortable for you. Just start to connect with the breath. We'll focus on the heart space today. Let the eyes soften. Let the shoulders melt down the back. Feel held and supported by the ground beneath you, or whatever surface you're on. Just notice where your body has contact with the floor beneath you, with the seat beneath you, with your cushion, your bed, your chair. Bring attention and awareness to what's alive in the body, what parts of your body are speaking to you in this moment. What parts of the body have something to say? We'll start out with a body scan at the top of the head. And imagine just a waterfall cascading over your entire body, starting at the top of the head, cascading over the forehead and your eyes, your face, and it just allows all the expression in your face to soften. Let your jaw relax. Let your tongue soften. Imagine your head as light as a feather floating towards the clouds, and your shoulders move in the opposite direction. Take a deep breath into the heart space. Let it go, bringing your attention and awareness to your neck and shoulders, your chest, your upper arms. Notice your elbows and your forearms. Notice your hands. Notice the palms of your hands. If it feels good, you can rub the palms of your hands together, create a little bit of warmth, and then gently place your hands over your heart and breathe in here. Take a deep breath in and let it go. And imagine that waterfall continues to cascade over your belly, over your hips, your sit bones, over the tops of your thighs, over your knees, your shins and your calves, the tops of your feet, the bottoms of your feet. Notice your toes. Let's take a big deep breath in. Imagine drawing that breath in from the very bottoms of your feet all the way up to the crown of the head, and let it go. Enjoy this moment of stillness, following your inhale and your exhale for as long as you wish. Offering gratitude to your heart and your body. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Until next time.